Hello, my name is Darren and I am the founder and chairperson of the Irish Sepsis Foundation. I set up this charity because through my work as a lawyer, I had witnessed the devastating impact that sepsis can have, how quickly it strikes, how easily it's missed, and how many lives are lost because the warning signs weren't recognised in time. Sepsis doesn't discriminate. It can affect anyone regardless of age, health or background, and yet public awareness in Ireland has been dangerously low for far too long. That had to change. So, in 2022, I established the Irish Sepsis Foundation to raise awareness, to educate and to advocate. Our goal is to ensure that people from right across the country understand what sepsis is, how to spot the signs, and when to seek help. We also work to support survivors and families who have been affected, because for many, the trauma of sepsis doesn't end with treatment. The physical, emotional and psychological impacts can last a lifetime. At the heart of our mission is a simple but powerful belief. Early recognition saves lives. Through education, policy engagement and community outreach, we are helping to build a future where fewer lives are lost and people know what to do when every second counts. This charity was born from loss, from urgency and from love, and it's driven by hope. Hope that through awareness, action and advocacy, we can change the story of sepsis in Ireland. Thank you for supporting our work.
In 2016, I survived sepsis. Many others do not. Sepsis is silent and it is fast. What can begin as a simple infection can, in just hours, overwhelm the body, shutting down organs, stealing lives, leaving families in shock and devastation. In Ireland, sepsis claims hundreds of lives every year. Survivors often live with lasting scars, not only physical, but emotional. And for the families left behind, the impact is immeasurable. This documentary is their story of mothers and fathers, children and loved ones, whose lives were forever changed by sepsis. But this is also a story of hope, because in labs across Ireland, scientists are working tirelessly on a breakthrough. A rapid test that could detect sepsis early, giving patients the chance to survive, and families the chance to hold on to the people they love. Sepsis does not discriminate. It does not wait, but together, awareness and science can change its story. This is the fight against sepsis in Ireland.
When you were ill, I think there's a lot of high levels of stress, and I'm going to say confusion, because there was so much jargon and medical words being thrown around that it really, I think, took a while to sink in how sick you were, because we were so used to all of these other words and we were so used to all of the terminology to do with Crohn's, and then we get this new word thrown into the mix, which is sepsis. And I think none of us really fully knew how sick you could become through sepsis. Once that awareness hit, I'm going to say it was just shock, and it didn't fully sink in for a while until the kind of ball was rolling and you were getting better, just how ill you were. We definitely felt anxious. There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of family members talking together, trying not to make you worried, trying not to let you know maybe just how sick you were, because that would have just made things a lot worse. But definitely a lot of anxiety, a lot of tears, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of worry, And just, yeah, it was a very scary time. Initially, like I said, there were so many moving parts. So I don't think it fully set in for a while, but I do believe that once you were kind of better, yeah, it was just realising how close we came to losing you is definitely, it's something that's going to stay with you forever. I knew that it was something that was potentially critical. I knew that you could die from it, but I didn't know how likely it was to happen and how frequently it happened. I'm way more aware of the signs, the symptoms, how urgent it is, how the need to get it seen to almost immediately, and how critical time is when it comes to sepsis. During the time that you were sick, you were so ill anyway, and there were so many moving parts. This happens, and it's not until you're better, you're out, you actually take a seat, and you look, that actually happened. And when I think of you, like all of the wires and the tubes, even then, because I just came up and I'd be like, oh look, you're a picture of health. And I think I did anything to maybe not believe how sick you were. And I think it wasn't until we went to the Sepsis Awards, and you told your story and you told your testimonial, and hearing it told by you and how sick you were and your awareness of it, and hearing it from your perspective, I think that was when it really hit me that we really did nearly lose you. Like, that really did happen. And I think our relationship up until that point anyway, the age gap, was a thing. But it definitely made me see you as more resilient. And I think not only with a chronic illness, things that are easy for the everyday person are a struggle for you. And when somebody has an invisible illness, people just think, oh sure, she's grand. It's that big Irish mentality. She's grand. But actually seeing the impact that it had on you, your mental health, when we spoke about it afterwards, and hearing how much you went through and how scared you were. Like, I just can't believe the strength that you have, because I don't know if I could go through something like that and come out and still be positive. Like, I truly believe that experience changed you for the better, and in turn, your relationships for the better. When somebody is ill, and especially with sepsis, and the after effects of sepsis, because it's not just sepsis, there is life after sepsis. And I think when you had sepsis and when you were so ill, life does go on for other people, and there's so many moving parts. And you had a family, so now you have a family that need to be looked after. People still need to work, people need to earn money, a family unit still needs to go on, life still needs to go on. So having almost like a lack of support, a lack of awareness of just how detrimental sepsis can be and the lasting effects from it, because it's not just when you have sepsis, it's life after it. It's just, I'm so much more aware of how an illness, even if it might not seem like cancer, something that keeps you ill for a really long time, there needs to be more awareness around it, around life after sepsis, around supporting people with sepsis, and not just from a family's perspective, but from everybody's perspective.
Yeah, so in March of 2023, I became very unwell, and I was sick for a couple of days, and I knew something was seriously wrong. So went to A&E and got my bloods done, and they'd lost them twice. So the third time I came back, they said I had sepsis. My blood was 94% poisoned. Yeah, I asked them in the hospital. I was Googling before I went in, and I asked, could it be sepsis? But they dismissed it straight away. They said I was too fit, too young, too well aware to have sepsis, and I didn't have the typical symptoms, even though I thought I did. So went into hospital on the 17th of March of 23, and on the 19th of March I'd started the IV antibiotics, but it was too late and I had a seizure. So everything went rapidly downhill from then. So yeah, they found out then I had a bleed on the brain. I had an aneurysm, a mycotic aneurysm caused from the sepsis, which was infected. They wanted to have surgery on the brain immediately, which would have left me paralysed from the left side down. And also they found that there was 2 valves in the heart damaged, so I needed open heart surgery to repair the two valves. So in total I spent 3 months in hospital. I luckily the aneurysm clotted off by itself, which was 1 in a million chances, the doctors had told me. So I didn't need surgery on the brain, but unfortunately I had to have open heart surgery twice. So yeah, in total I spent 3 months in hospital, 12 weeks. The recovery afterwards was much more than what it was while I had sepsis. I thought just there was no aftercare, there was nowhere to go, there was within the hospitals there was no one to talk to. So I reached out to the Irish Sepsis Foundation and have become a board member with them since. So there's support groups that go on, and yeah, they're doing great work. But I just felt the aftercare after going through all that was next to none in the hospital. There was no groups, there was nothing in place for a sepsis survivor, which was a big thing. I think like going through it is one thing, but coming out the other side and not having any support is another thing.
So before she got ill, the funny thing is that the difference between mum before she had sepsis and after is really quite little. It changed her life completely, but it didn't change her spirit at all. And mum, I was trying to think of words since she passed that describe mum, and I think fiercely independent and just determined. Like glass half full doesn't even cover it. Like she was a force of nature. She was never still. Like she was reading or she was knitting. She had her own knitting shop, and then she decided to go back to college, and she was doing all these courses all throughout our lives. And then by the time I had started college, she was in UCD, I was in IDT. We used to meet each other for coffee. We'd commute up together. She got the bus up every day, and that was mum. And then on the weekends, she'd be out with her mum, and she'd be out in the car, and she was just always looking out for everyone. And she was a natural mum, and she was a natural teacher as well. And I think she just gave all the time. There was nothing that she knew that she didn't feel like sharing with everyone that she loved, and she poured into her children, she poured into her husband, into her entire family, and everyone that she met. She was never too good for anyone. She had no ego. She was just really pure, and she was just so independent, and so I feel like strong isn't even the word for it, and I studied English and I still don't have the words for it, but I feel like independent and determined is how I didn't kind of encapsulate mum, especially before she got sick. It's often the ones you don't want to remember that you do remember the clearest, but the week leading up, I remember it was my dad's birthday, and his birthday is the 24th of April, and it was during COVID times. It was 2021, so she was feeling a bit gross. She had a bit of a viral thing going on. She was coughing, and she was just generally feeling unwell, and her temperature was bad, and her symptoms kind of worsened. She was chattering, her teeth were chattering, her temperature was up and down, she was getting sick a lot, and she just kind of got progressively worse. Now the Thursday she felt a lot better, and then the Friday night she rang the ambulance. I woke up and my dad had rang the ambulance. And so the paramedics came, and mum, I'll never forget it, mum was sitting in the sitting room, and I got in a cold towel for her head because she was really clammy. And the paramedics came and they said her blood pressure's on the floor. But they said we can regulate that. And I remember mum saying, she's like, God, I feel like I've been hit by a truck, I feel crap. So they took her away in the ambulance, and we were like, okay, well that's, she's getting the help she needs. And looking back, I don't think had naivety or innocence, I suppose, like it when I went to bed that night, because life just completely changed after that. She was in hospital and in Wexford General, and they were going to take her for a scan. She started to fret when they said they were going to take her for a scan. She started to get high heart rate, so they sedated her. And I remember thinking, that's weird, mum doesn't really fret. So it kind of just snowballed from there. They said she's really, really ill. She was taken into ICU 1 and then ICU 2, and during COVID you couldn't get that many visitors. But we got in to see her, I'd say, that was early Saturday morning. We probably got in Monday to see her, and she was completely grey, and she was deathly ill. And they said, there's an infection, it's somewhere, and they were checking between her toes, they were checking up her arms, they were like, we don't know how, did she get a cut, what's going on? So anyway, that went on. They had her on antibiotics. They were trying to get the microbiologist to see, and heel of the hunt, it was sepsis. And it had formed because my mum had diverticulitis, and she had a perforation in her bowel, and that had caused sepsis. So she went into multi-organ failure, she was on life support, and she was in a coma for a total of about 14 days. And we used to call, and it felt like a completely parallel universe, because we were asking questions like, oh, what's her urine output like? And we were celebrating when she had pee, and I'll never forget it. And it was, what were her infection markers like? And we had a group chat going in the family to keep each other updated. And eventually, thank God, she pulled through. But I'll never forget that time, because it honestly felt like all of our lives were just, this can actually happen, Mum might actually die. When she was pulled out of the coma then, she had no use of the muscles in her body, relearn how to raise her arms, and she never got full strength back in her shoulders, and she had to relearn how to eat by herself and how to walk again and talk again, and she just completely had to relearn everything. And when she had gone in, they gave her noradrenaline to get her blood pressure up again, and she suffered gangrene in her feet. So she came out of the coma, and that was really the beginning of a very, very long road for the last 3.5, 4 years of her life, where she had to get amputations of all of her toes and most of her foot on her left foot and nearly all of her toes on her right foot. She had to go to the physio, she had to go to clinics, she was still in the wound clinic, and she used to joke that all her friends were nurses because she was so in the system. But yeah, it was just brick after brick that was placed in front of her. And yeah, that was kind of her getting sepsis, I suppose. She was just able to speak immediately about it. And she, like Dad had told her when she was in the critical care unit just out of ICU, listen, you're going to lose your toes, you've got gangrene. And she was like, okay, what next? And it was very much immediate. It was like, and I often joked, I was like, Mum, if that had happened to anyone else in this house, jeepers, we'd be locked up. Like, you know, we wouldn't be able. But she was just so immediate, able to talk about it with people. She was like, I wonder, is there support groups? And we kind of got down that track, but almost immediately. And she described it as something that happened to me that I want to teach other people about. It was just so important for her to say, this will save somebody's life, this could save somebody's life, because I had no idea about anything about sepsis. She often talked to people about the post-sepsis syndrome, and she was like, I had no idea, like, and I joke, I was like, it's not like in the films when someone wakes up from a coma and goes on a 10k, like, you have to work for it, like, you know. And Mum said that, she was like, I had no idea the work that went into this and the trauma that comes along with it. So when she asked for a scan of her throat and they happened to find a tumour and it turned out to be early stages of esophageal cancer, she said, well, I had no idea. She had Barrett's esophagus, and she said, well, I didn't know about this. So she said, if people don't know, they can't help themselves, you know. And she said, by the time you typically have symptoms of esophageal cancer, you're already in late stages. By the time you're having difficulty swallowing, by the time you're kind of have increased heartburn, it's nearly too late. So she said, I was so lucky to get it early. And she said, I just want people to know so that they too can be proactive about it. We've learned things about ourselves, about the medical system. We've learned things about ourselves with each other, and we've really been strengthened as a family. But I think more importantly, we're all so passionate about people understanding sepsis and understanding, one, that it's not, by the time it's a death sentence, there's things we can look out for before that, but also to understand just the risks, not of everyday life, because you don't want to live in fear, but understanding everyday life and understanding cuts on holidays and understanding a broken glass and understanding our bodies themselves and looking after any kind of illnesses we have internally as well as externally. So I think her legacy would be that no mountain is too big, that there's always tomorrow. You know, as I could think of a million cliches, but I think it's just that, okay, what next? And even at her most dire times, in any circumstance, she would say, okay, we'll have our little cry, we'll have our little reaction, and we'll put together a plan. What's the plan? Because when she was in hospital, she had my sister's wedding to look forward to, and then she got to meet her grandchild, and there was always a plan. Like, even coming up to any operation or procedure she had, she said, I'm already done with that in my head. I've processed it, what's next? You know, and it was always just to keep looking ahead, because what's happening now, you're more than capable of dealing with. I think there's nothing, her legacy I think would be, there's nothing that you can't handle. You know, there's nothing too big, and there's always room for kindness. I think her legacy of kindness alongside her legacy of strength is just completely incomparable. It's these people who are at the worst stages of their life are saying, well, Carol got me up in the morning and Carol was able to crack a joke, and that was just Mum over the back. And I think her legacy is what we've heard, and it's complete kindness and it's complete strength.
Leah was absolutely a fantastic person, to where everything she delved into, she just done her best. She had love for books, she loved Disney, she loved absolutely everything. She just wanted to give, and she had a hunger for knowledge, just to better herself. She just constantly wanted to better herself for her job and her family. She was just amazing person. Still adjusting every day, is just taking day by day, to where I'm sure there's still plenty of hurdles to come across, but we're doing our best and we're pushing forward. Jackson, he's a handful, but he's a lovable handful, and that, I don't think that comes into question, because I'm so used to Jackson, and he's mine on, to where I treat him the same as any other other one of my children. Anytime they're upset, I'd encourage them to talk about it to me. I'd never shy them away from that, to where we'd look at photos. We try to keep all her routines, because bedtime was hers. I worked nights for 7 years, and I just try to keep everything going. I make them, still listen to the music that they listen to their mother. We talk photos, we just try to do everything the same. Well, Leah, I wouldn't want to put words in Leah's mouth, but Leah was a fun person. She loved a bop, she loved a chat, she loved her friends, her family, to where just keep the good memories in mind. Up until the time she had sepsis before, not a whole lot, but Leah, with me and Leah sitting down and talking, I still wouldn't be totally knowledgeable about it, but I just know it's a severe infection that impacts the entire body. Seek medical advice, even if it's as little as what you think is a UTI or anything like that. Can't be too safe. Just go and be seen to it and have your mind put at ease.
Yeah.
I think my children are anchoring me, pulling me back from taking flight. It was quite emotional, and I had plans the minute we got back to this hall a couple of hours after Tala Hospital. We came back here, and I just went straight into the kids and asked who was minding our kids. Leah's best friend was minding our kids while we were up there, and I asked her nicely to leave the room, and I told them the news, and we all embraced each other, and it was quite difficult. Leah had her few health issues, but she knew she had to manage. She had a handle on it, and Christmas Day, roughly around dinner time, she felt quite sick, and she took a painkiller to ease that, and that lasted for so long. Come 9 o'clock at night, we had to go into hospital, and she was quite sick. She knew by later on that evening that something was going on. It has been offered by Tala Hospital in the first month that it's happened, and I just from what I've picked up over the years from hearing other people grieve, is to leave it for a couple of months. I haven't done that in myself, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that I'm a single dad. Leah was my wife, she'll always be my wife. I won't move on. She's my soulmate, and the kids will make me deal, and that's it. I don't think I need help, because I'll feel my feelings with my children. I'll be okay.
I was a student nurse at the time, and I was working in an orthopaedic ward. I started to get flu-like symptoms. I just had aches and pains all over my body, and I felt like I was getting a temperature, but I was checking it when I was in work, and it wasn't spiking, and I was just so tired. I just felt like I literally hit a wall, but I was just putting it down to working. And then when I got home that night, I couldn't get the heat into me whatsoever. This was a sunny day in July, and I had 2 blankets on me, a house coat, fluffy pyjamas, hot water bottle, and I still couldn't get the heat into me. So then during the night I started vomiting, and I just thought it was due to the high temperature. But then the following day, my face, when I woke up, I was just so puffy, red and swollen, and then I went to my GP, but then I just started to deteriorate. I couldn't even walk. My mum had to walk me up to the GP, and then he took one look at me and my vital signs and said, "Caitlin, you have sepsis." The moment when I knew it was critical So on the Friday I went in to A&E after being with my GP, and I didn't think I was that sick. I still thought I was going to be discharged straight away, but I didn't realise how unwell I was. And then I went to the ward on Saturday morning after spending 12 hours in a chair in agonising pain, and then I had to go to ICU then on the Saturday afternoon because my blood pressure dropped to 60/40. My heart rate was 140, temperature was 40.3, and my oxygen saturation started to drop as well. So I went to ICU, but still, I think it was just because I was so unwell, I didn't realise how unwell I was. But it was the following Monday then, when the nurse manager came in to me and the doctor and said, "Caitlin, you're going down for emergency surgery." I had to get an incision and drainage on my leg because that's where the source of infection was, and they just said, "You're going to be on a ventilator." And my mum came in to me. She had red puffy eyes and I knew she was crying, and I just knew exactly what was said, and I knew what was going on. And I think it was that moment in time where I knew it was critical because I was being brought down to theatre, and I just remember thinking, am I going to die? Am I ever going to see my family again? And yeah, that's when I knew I was severely unwell. My mum was called up, yeah, and before I went down to theatre, my last words to her were, "I'm scared I'm going to die." And still to this day, I always think about it, and I just can't imagine how my mum felt during that time. When I got discharged from hospital, I genuinely thought I was just going to recover straight away. I was in ICU for 2 weeks and I was ventilated in a coma for a week. But when I was discharged home, I never got any information on post-sepsis syndrome, so I was just assuming that I was going to get better straight away. But that wasn't the case, and when I got home, my 70-year-old granddad had to help me walk up the stairs because I couldn't. My internship got delayed. I had to take 3 months off just because I had to go to the public health nurse and get a dressing on my leg every day for 3 months. And then just emotionally, I just don't know how to put it into words. I was struggling, I was isolated, I was afraid to go out just with the open wounds. I was afraid in case I got another infection. My hair started falling out. I lost so much confidence, and there's so many changes to my body as well. I just felt like I didn't recognise the person that I was looking at in the mirror, and I was really grieving the person I was before. And then I couldn't graduate with my class, people I spent the last 4 years with, and I was just really struggling to sleep as well. I was only getting about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then I went back to my GP and he diagnosed me with PTSD as well. I think it was more difficult to see, and I was a student nurse at the time. I knew what sepsis was, but I think the thing with sepsis is it mimics so many different conditions. As I already said, when I originally was starting to become unwell, I thought it was the flu or I thought it was COVID. Then when I got home, when I was vomiting, I thought it was a vomiting bug, and even though I am a nurse, the last thing I would have thought was that it was sepsis. And when my GP said it to me, "Oh, Caitlin, you have sepsis," I turned around to him. I was like, "I'm only 22. How could I have sepsis?" And I'm still embarrassed about that to this day. And I think it was because I was so unwell, I didn't realise that it could have been that.
And it mimics
so many different other conditions. Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people ignore it at the start. I definitely think it made me a better nurse because I know what it's like to be on the other side, and it's definitely helped me advocate for my patients because the last thing I want for them is to go through what I went through, and just even in regards to healthcare professionals as well, I just try my best just to make sure that they know what sepsis is and how to recognise what the treatment is. One thing I really dealt with was survivor's guilt. I remember when I was at home and I was just always thinking, why did I have to survive this and there's other people out there who aren't, and it's something that I always see within sepsis survivors as well. And the way I didn't really manage them that well just because I didn't have any support when I got discharged from hospital. I didn't have any follow-up appointment. The only healthcare professional I seen was a public health nurse who did my dressing. I think there's so much missing in the healthcare system at the moment. I recently did a survey with nurses, and I asked them if they ever heard of post-sepsis syndrome, and 50 nurses took part in that survey, and 45 nurses said they never heard of post-sepsis syndrome, and 5 nurses said they heard of it. So there's definitely a lack of education on post-sepsis syndrome, and there's so much information on early recognition and treatment, which is so important, but it's still important to care for the patient when they're being discharged from hospital, and just to make sure that they have that information as well. And sepsis survivors, they're at risk of getting sepsis again within the first year, so it's just so important that they have the information and know how to look out for signs of infection, not sepsis infections, because you can't get sepsis without infection. And so many survivors are struggling at the moment, and it's just the healthcare professionals and the healthcare system, they just need to do more. Just a message I'd give to survivors is you're not alone in this journey. I'd say 75% of survivors, they experience at least one symptom of post-sepsis syndrome, and that's it could be physical, psychological or cognitive symptoms. So we just want to let you know that you're not alone in this journey. So it was around this time last year I got in contact with the Irish Sepsis Foundation because I had a hole in my heart closed, and that was found when I was in ICU with sepsis. So I wanted to run a half marathon and raise money for the Irish Sepsis Foundation, just to raise more awareness on it as well. And my role with the Irish Sepsis Foundation now is a social media and online community manager. I manage all the social media accounts and I make awareness posts, and I also do support groups as well, just for those who have survived sepsis and are living with its lasting effects, and for those who have lost someone to it as well.
So my name is James Corcoran and I'm with the Irish Sepsis Foundation. I'm the Deputy Chairperson. I came on the board in September 2022, and the reason why I got involved with this charity is because my sister passed away from sepsis back in June 2020. So with my sister Tracy, who was 37 years of age, had a form of arthritis, which is rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition. So she was a bit more susceptible to sepsis. So back in late May 2020, my sister became a bit unwell. Now, she had a number of operations before and she never really complained of pain, because she had previously had 2 hip surgeries where she felt somewhat okay after them. So we took a lot of notice when she started complaining of this pain going through her body. So we had the ambulance call, which they advised us that it could potentially be gastroenteritis. So they basically said that just monitor it over the weekend and hopefully everything will go back to normal. So the Sunday, my sister had been complaining of a lot of pain through her body, and we weren't sure what was happening with her. So it came to late Sunday and we had to bring her into the hospital because she was keeled over with the pain. While she was in the ICU, they removed her out of that because they felt she was getting a little bit better. Now, unfortunately, that could have potentially led to the downfall of what was happening to her, because towards the later stage of what we found out is that she went into septic shock. Now, she was declining rapidly, but there was parts of her that were fighting quite a lot, and there was a lot of battling going on, and we thought she might have come out of it, but unfortunately didn't. And on the 20th of June at 7:27, she unfortunately passed away from sepsis, we found out. Now, I myself didn't know much about sepsis, matter of fact, probably nothing at all. So unless it actually comes to your front door, you don't really know too much about it. And that's the reason why I'm so heavily involved with the charity. It's to honour her legacy, but also to leave a legacy behind for her children to see what a great mother she was, what a great sibling she was, and what a great daughter she was as well. I suppose it's very hard in the aspect of doing all this work. There's a memory that will stay with me forever is her 2 children over her body in the ICU when they were turning off the machine. And it's just a memory I don't think will ever leave my mind. But now that I'm a part of it, I want to empower change and I suppose not have a family like my own go through what they have went through in regards to my sister, because it tears a family apart, like, and it brings you to your knees, like, and it's something that is very hard to get through, and especially with a lot of cases in sepsis that a lot of medical personnel could potentially be unaware of the signs and symptoms, and I think that's an important goal of ourselves, is to educate all medical professionals around Ireland so we bring the deaths of 3,000 a year down as best as we can. That's what drives me forward as the deputy chairperson of the Irish Sepsis Foundation, is simply making sure families don't go through what we've went through.
She was born on the 3rd of January 2020. Phoenix was a ball of craziness. Like, and the minute she walked into a room, everyone would know she was there. Yeah. Probably one of the times that I can, out of a million, I can say the time in Waterside when there was a fountain at the top of where the playground was, and Phoenix jumped into the fountain and just ran straight through. It was jumping around, throwing water everywhere, and I was like, I have a video of her. I was like, Phoenix, get out, please. Everyone was just looking at her and laughing. I was like,
Water
Phoenix.
baby.
Yeah, she's pure water baby. I was like, just please get out of the fountain. Everybody is staring at us. She was like, no, I'm having fun, kicking the water, everything. She was just so delighted with herself. She loved superheroes. She was mad into Spider-Man. She loved like dresses and dressing up. She was just a child that loved everything, wasn't she?
Yeah, she just loved everything. Yeah.
She loved
Every
everything. Took everything in her stride. Like, she had a really good relationship with anyone. Like, there's no one.
She'd get along with anyone.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that met Phoenix that doesn't remember. Like, she like left her mark on absolutely everyone and everyone's life. Like, yeah. The way we are as people have changed. Like, I'll never be that same person ever again. Like,
day-to-day life was just completely gone out the
horrible.
window as well.
Yeah. Like, there's nothing that can can prepare you for like losing a child, because no one should ever lose a child. Everything changes. Like, we could wake up in grey form in the morning, something happens, and that's it. Like, bed
2
down.
hours later,
like,
you're stuck in bed then.
Yeah, can't get up, and it's bad. Like, everything is a struggle, and like pressured. Like, do you know that way? Because it's like pressure to try and keep the family together. But then it's also to try and keep, like, we have another 2 little kids that have their childhood, like, we have their childhood in their hands. Yeah. And it's still trying to give them a good childhood while we're, like, in the depths of it. Like, there's sometimes, like, Wayne doesn't, like, and I find it's...
Manage it the best you can, like, really.
Yeah, like, if he has a good time, like, I'm bad, or if I'm, like, right, I'm getting there, I'm good, he's not. Okay. Do you know? And it's like a vicious circle.
Never on the same page.
Yeah, we're never on the same page.
Okay,
Bailey can't come to terms with why she can't play with her sister. That's a new thing now, where she's gone, like, she's actually lashing, not really lashing out, but she's just...
She's upset.
Yeah,
like,
she's getting upset, like she's getting annoyed, and she's like, why can't I play with my sister? Jake can't regulate his emotions.
At all,
so
like...
he'll just snap.
Like...
And then he'd be grand, and then he just kind of goes in and out of it.
Yeah, like he...
Calls everyone Phoenix.
Everyone, yeah. My niece is 4 years. My little niece Sadie, she's 4 months, older than Phoenix. So they were like, as thick as thieves, they were like the cry twins. I call them, like, they're mad. And for months after, like, Jake used to call her Phoenix.
He's like, come on, Phoenix.
And Sadie, like, God love Sadie, she's like, I'm not Phoenix. Yeah. And, you know, like, a child just didn't understand it. Yeah, but he didn't, like, and he'd often ask me, where is she? Or, do you know that way? Or, like, then... when you're trying to explain, like, how do you explain to a child? Like, I used to always say she's up with Nanny Sadie, or she's she's watching over you, or like I'd be like, look at there she is in the clouds. Like you can't explain to a child that they're after passing away, because like I usually used, like when I was a child, I think old people would pass away. Do you know that way? Not children. Like just him knowing that she was there for 2 years and 10 months to the day, and then then she was just gone. Like, and she just didn't come back. Do you know that way?
Yeah.
Like they shared a room and everything. Like it's struggling with your head, like the thoughts in your head, and it just like the intrusive thoughts that it brings. It's like,
it's the kids that keeps me going.
Yeah. Do you know what? And I found at the start the kids didn't even keep me going. Like, because as a mother, I was like, I don't deserve the other kids.
Okay.
Because you can't, it's like, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's like, do I deserve the other two? Because it's like you're constantly thinking, what could I have done? Or like, could I have saved this little girl? Like, when you put your trust in, like when you put your trust somewhere for someone to help, and then it's like everything you did, you second guess them.
Of course.
After we were just left to deal.
Just left to deal with everything.
Yourself, and two grieving parents having to like navigate life through it without anyone to support you. That's what I felt like. There was no support after it. Like it was like, you just go and get on with it now. Do you know, like, and deal with your grief and everything else.
I went to one called Foolish Lie. They're in town beside, it's over at Smithfield, it's actually.
Oh yeah.
That's very good for for parents that are in bereavement over losing a child. But Joe counts that, as far as I know, has lost a child as well. So everyone can relate, you know what I mean? But it's a one-to-one service that they do, but it's very good.
Yeah. You found that helpful for you?
I've only went to that, was it twice, is it?
Twice.
2 times I went to that, but I'm trying to go back, but they're constantly booked out.
Okay.
They're just constantly booked out. It's very hard to get in, like, but once you're in, you're in.
She has a little leaf in Darnettstown that has her name and everything on it. Like we'd go up there, we bring our flowers, we let off balloons. There's certain places though that I can't go. Like I cannot go to, because I was there with her. Like, and I find that like I can't bring me kids or anything to them certain places to keep our memory alive. It's just doing fun things that we would have wanted to do with Phoenix. Like we had so many memories and so many not memories, sorry, we had so many things to look forward to.
Yeah, of course.
Like so many plans that we never got to do. Like I think it's kind of trying to also now do them while still remembering her.
Yeah.
Do you know that way? Like, and
Yeah.
like there's never a day that goes by that she's not spoken about. She's spoken about like 100 times a day. Do you know? If I'm being honest, when Phoenix passed away, I had heard about sepsis before, and obviously how serious it is, but as personally as a parent or as anyone, I just don't think there's enough information on it or out there that's available to the public. Like, you're like, they have a sniffle, it's like, oh my god, like straight away my mind goes, is my child dying? Like, and like that's it. Like when anyone's sick, like anyone else's kid sick, I'm like, please bring them to the doctor. Like not only like obviously hers, it's a lot worse, you know. Like, but like Bailey, like if she gets sick or she has a high temperature, like what's gonna happen?
Like, ring the D-doc, ring the normal doctor, ring anybody.
Like, do you know what? And it's just like it's a constant fear that you're going to lose another child.
Yeah.
For something like.
It's because you weren't expecting it to happen and it happened.
Yeah, like, and it's something that, like, as I said, like, here today, gone tomorrow.
So you have to try and kind of distract them for a minute, so you can go inside and just cry for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you have to knock that off and come back and try and be alright around them. So Bailey is only 3 as well. Like.
Yeah, and she's very, isn't she very
she's very, like,
self-aware?
she keeps saying, are you alright, mummy, are you alright, daddy, you know?
Because at the very beginning, like,
Her whole life now has just been around us, just been, like, through mental health battles and stuff like that now.
Yeah.
Like she was only 8 months when it happened.
Yeah, 8 months when Phoenix was
like
there.
that's all her life has been now. Like us just being like unhappy now for this amount of time.
Or the constant thing of like, could I have done this? Should I have done that?
Do you know, and that's the thing that I think eats me alive. Like, I'm just, like, as a mother, you're there to protect your children, like, and, like, I know fathers, Jesus, I'm not taking away from fathers at all, but, like, a mother's, as they say, a mother's instinct, a mother's everything, like, you know, like, you're there, like, you bring your children into the world safely, like, and everything, and you, like, yeah, it's the proudest moment of your life, do you know, that way, and all, for the rest of their lives, you're there to protect them, make sure they're okay, and I just feel lost now, do you know, because I don't know how like this happened, do you know, that way. I'm still in constant disbelief and everything with myself, and it's fighting constant battles with my own head, like, and intrusive thoughts that it's just awful. I constantly think sometimes in my head, like, my anxiety does be so bad, like, I think that, like, I constantly think something's gonna happen.
Okay.
Do you know, that way? I constantly think something bad's gonna happen. Do you know, because, as I said, our lives are perfect, and I know they say no one's life is perfect, but we had
perfect as it could have been.
like we had everything we wanted and ever needed. Like, we were in a little family bubble, and that someone stuck a pin in that. I love Donna Bay Beach. That's the only place that I can go to that reminds me of Phoenix, and I'll go and I'll just sit there in my car and I'll just switch off for a few. No, I haven't done it in a while, but, like, I used to just go and just sit there and just listen to the water, and it was like, it's just to keep me head in the zone, just so I can come back and be the best mammy that I can be to me kids, and the same for Wayne. Like, it's just, the two of us are just trying to do things as to the best of our abilities, like, that we can for now. Like, something needs to change in a way that there's more information, like this easy sepsis thing that's supposedly easy to detect and everything. This something needs to change here. I change the training that everyone has for it.
Information needs
to be put out there a lot more. 100%. There's nothing out there that, like, there's nothing visibly out there apart from sepsis on the side of an ambulance. What is that going to do for anybody? Do you know, that way, like, there's so much information that needs to be put together for families, for everyone in general.
Yeah.
Or something that has, like, a fatality in it as well. Like, it's not just the flu where you just get over the flu.
Yeah.
6 stages, you go into septic shock, like, you're gone.
Why is it even getting to that? Why are people even passing away over? You know, like, when there's so much information on it, like, it's everywhere in hospitals, it's everywhere, like, but yeah, people are still passing away over.
And time is of the essence as well.
100%. It's like, you know, they're supposedly easily treated and everything, so shouldn't happen. It should not happen.
So my name's Keith O'Neill, I'm CEO of Novus Diagnostics. So we're developing a rapid test for sepsis. And the whole company's been built on a discovery made here at Dublin City University that we can detect bacterial cells from whole blood without the need for any amplification within 15 minutes. So we now have built a team of 23 people. We've raised close to 14 million euros to build this completely novel technology from scratch here in Dublin. And ultimately, when we're able to put that back into the clinic, this will enable the physician to confirm a systemic infection within 15 minutes and get that pathogen classified, so the pathogen that's actually causing the problem for the patient, so that you can start to select the most appropriate therapy. Whether that's a gram-positive bacterium or a fungal infection or a gram-negative bacterium, you can start to target the most appropriate therapy and give that patient the best chance of recovery. So today, if a patient suspected of sepsis, the gold standard test is blood culture, which is a test that's over 100 years old at this point, and it works pretty well, but it's relatively slow. It takes 1 to 5 days typically to deliver a result, and then the physician can target therapy to the infection that the patient has. But because sepsis is a medical emergency, in most cases the objective is to treat the patient as quickly as possible. And so ordinarily the patient is treated before the results of the test come back, and that's what we'd like to change. Our test can deliver a result within 15 minutes right at the patient's bedside. So from that very first treatment choice that the physician needs to make, they've got the best available information so that they can select a therapy that is going to work best for that patient. So I was delighted to be invited to join the board of the Irish Sepsis Foundation, particularly with a role in partnerships. Because I think this is a major global challenge that we're working towards. And it's going to take a community of the willing to make any kind of difference. So we need patients, we need their families, we need physicians, but we also need industry. We need researchers. And the role for industry in solving the challenge of sepsis is to take the best clinical research, the best biomedical research, and to distill that into tools that we can give to physicians. And that's what our role is. And so it's one of the things that I liked most about the foundation is their objective to bring all parties together to make a change for sepsis patients and their families, and the fact that we sort of casting that net as widely as possible to give ourselves the best chance of success. So I've been thrilled to be involved in the foundation, and in particular with a role to support partnerships and to build new partnerships and to bring other stakeholders in to help address the challenge of sepsis around the world.
Nine years ago, I survived sepsis. I could never have imagined that one day I would join a board dedicated to making change for those affected, let alone write and produce a documentary to share these vital stories. Through this project, we spoke to 7 incredible individuals whose lives were forever changed by sepsis. Each story was unique, yet everyone shared the same heartbreaking truth. Sepsis didn't just affect them, it affected everyone around them. Families grieving, adapting, trying to rebuild in the aftermath. It reminded me that the impact of sepsis reaches far beyond the hospital bed. It echoes through homes, relationships, and futures. For me, this documentary was more than a professional project. It was deeply personal. It gave me the space to reflect on my journey, how far I've come since February 2016, and most of all how grateful I am to still be here. Grateful for my daughter Izzy, for my 4 children, for the love and support of my family and friends, and for a career that allows me to do what I'm passionate about. And I will never forget the professors, doctors, and nursing staff whose skill and compassion saved not just my life, but Izzy's too. Their care made this story, and every story like it, possible. Sepsis takes so much, but survival, courage, and the power of sharing our stories can give something back. And if my journey can inspire hope, awareness, or action for just one person, then every struggle, every scar, and every story has been worth it.